Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here to join me for the Way of the Animal podcast. So on today's podcast, you had an idea for what we could chat about?
I did, and it's a topic that we've slightly touched on before without actually really touching on it. It's NLP, or neuro linguistic programming. It's very much like the stories we tell ourselves. It's the things you say to yourselves, but it's more than that. It's the way you say them, the words you use.
Yeah, it's like the language you use.
Language, yeah. That's a good point, yeah. And it's, for me, it's quite interesting because I like the work with subconscious, and the subconscious is very literal. And simply saying things like, I have to do this, puts kind of a negative spin on it and can make it a negative experience. Whereas saying things like, I get to do this, makes it seem a bit more positive, and that can help your subconscious to make it all seem better.
Yeah, it's almost like the emotions that are attached to the words that you use. And then there's the literal way you speak to yourself or about things about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, because I've read about it a bit. You've studied it, but I've actually had someone work with me who has neuro-linguistic programming training as well. And it's really interesting. I found like the words that I used and how that basically it would allow you to feel like a victim or disempowering yourself, and then beyond that, completely berating yourself and just being plain mean.
Yeah, it is. But it's even, your subconscious helps you to create what it thinks that you're wanting.
Yes.
So you say things like, I always mess things up. I always get sick. I always hurt myself. We're using phrases like that kind of as a self-fulfilling prophecy. It makes it more likely to happen because you're programming yourself to do that.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're saying, I must get sick more often. I must hurt myself more. It's...
And it's interesting because, it kind of starts there. There's obviously reasons why you are saying those things to yourself. So there's like previous events, traumas, programs, ideas, stories, things that have happened that have allowed you to create these words in your head in the way that you say things. My brain's gone to sleep now. Is like one of the things that I did that I didn't realize I was doing was called it my anxiety.
Okay, so taking ownership over it.
Yeah. So in doing that, it was almost like it was harder to overcome it because it was just like it was mine, Yeah. Whereas it's actually anxious feelings.
Yeah.
It's not actually my anxiety. It's just I have anxious feelings.
Yeah, and there's that side to it. I know I'm bad for...
Especially if you tell yourself you are.
I'm bad. But no, I quite often go for the positive. So the no, I'm fine,
But that's not positive, that's negative. No, you're using a negative word. No, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, saying I'm fine, like if I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, hurt myself a little bit, no, fine. And a lot of it's based in that if I tell myself I'm fine, then the chances are I am fine. Whereas if I bring myself into that, I feel a bit under the weather, it's easier to fall into that feeling further. Whereas if I just go with the I'm fine, I can move on from it. But
does that create resistance?
Does that create resistance, and are you lying to yourself?
Well, I think is it like, rather than lying to yourself, because again, that's like putting words that aren't necessarily true, because in a way you are believing it, or you wouldn't say it at all. Is it like you're creating like a resistant block to feeling or honouring how you feel?
I don't know.
Because like it's really interesting because we did talk about resistance just recently.
Yeah.
In saying that you're fine, like I get that it's like, it's almost like I'll deal with that later as well. Like I'm fine can often be...
Really, I'm just hoping it'll go away.
Yes, it's like I'm barely coping.
I'm going to
Don't
ignore
make
it
me
and it'll
think
go away.
about this or look at this. I'm just going to resist feeling into it and like, allowing it to be what it is and just be like, no, I'm fine. So it's an interesting...
And that's not a good way to deal with things?
I don't know. I don't know the answers to these things, you know, but...
But I notice a distinct difference if I take that mindset of, like, regardless of I've got a sore throat, but I feel fine, that helps me get out of it faster than if I focus on I'm feeling a bit run down, I've got a bit of sore throat, maybe I'm fighting something, you know. If I think about that headspace rather than the headspace of...
But I don't think that headspace is healthy. You just have a wee look at yourself and go, okay, yeah, I'm a little under weather.
Yep.
Well, that's fine, but I don't need to get... Yeah, it's like... So
that
it's
needs
like,
to be added on that these are these things.
Well, okay, that's okay.
I'm
and that's
fine and it's nothing.
Yeah, it's like that part of what we were talking about, you know, accepting how you are, honouring how you are, and then, like, looking how you can help yourself.
Yes.
Rather than, like... You know, it's like, if you continually say, I'm fine, that's like holding that ball underwater. You know, you're fine until you get that chance to rest. And then the thing you've been fighting, whatever it is, and, you know, sometimes it's a physical illness and sometimes it's something else, like hits you all at once with all of its might and you just get floored. And it's because you've never really just allowed yourself to feel what you feel. But like, just treat yourself kinder. Yeah. Okay, I'm a little under the weather. Take it a little bit easier, you know, rather, I'm fine, I'm just going to keep pushing through and even work even harder or do more than I usually do because that way, you know, I don't need to look at it.
Interesting, yeah. I don't think I have it as a don't look at it type thing, but I definitely do it as a just to keep moving thing. Because we've talked about before that doctors can be quite bad at times with saying, like when I had my knee done, oh, you'll always have pain in your knee. That was what I was told. I'll always have pain in my knee. And for years and years and years, I've had pain in my knee. And it 100% is, well, I don't know. It definitely feels like the weaker of the two knees.
But is that because you've
But is that because I've been told that?
We've even had to be careful because we have good knee and bad... Oh, do you hurt yourself? Is it your good knee, your bad knee? And it's like now we know that, again, the neuro-linguistic programming, that's not what you want to do.
Not at all.
They're both good knees.
So I made a conscious effort to not microanalyze how my knee felt. Because if I look for pain or discomfort in my knee... I'm pushing 40.
But if you look at...
Like, it doesn't matter which knee I look at.
You could look at your shoulder, you know?
Yep. There's pain and discomfort there.
Yeah.
But if I look at it in my bad knee, then, oh, that's sore. And, oh, then I'm going to start compensating. Then I'm going to start limping. Then I'm going to... And my brain can build it. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I just go, it's fine, then I can brush it off. Yeah, and it's like, maybe fine's not the right word. Maybe it's good. You know, it's like fine. I know you dislike the word fine. It's, you know, it's that, it just makes me think of the Friends. If you've ever watched Friends, where Ross has his, there's like his world's crumbling. I can't remember all the things that have triggered him, but then he has everyone over and he's like burning his hands when he's cooking and he's just going, I'm fine! I don't know why he's coming out all high-pitched like this, but I'm fine! And it's like, he's clearly not fine. Yeah. And, you know... He's just trying to cope. I have a running joke with my friends, you know, when we say we're fine, you know, I'm fine, it's like we know that we're not really fine, but it's just like I just need to get through this, you know. But you know, I've really noticed that just getting through this is sometimes you do have to do that, but I think you can also get through this in an easier way. And we tend to just like... So here's the thing for you. what words would you use to describe being fine, good, great,
yeah,
excellent, like however you would describe it? Everything is hunky-dory.
But no, is anything ever hunky-dory? But yeah,
but so
no, I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm fine. You know.
But I get the same thing as you, that I'm fine suggests that not everything's right, but yeah, I'm okay. You know, I'm muddling through. Yeah. It's fine. Fine definitely has that association with it. But then I was just sitting here thinking, how, like, and you're right, you're never 100%. If you think 100% of things are good and you're like, there's probably something you're ignoring. But if 90% is good and there's a couple of little niggly things that are kind of inconsequential, but whatever, how do you say, without it sounding like
you're ignoring it?
But equally, if 90% is good and there's this tiny little, doesn't really matter even, niggly stuff, saying, well, you know, I've got all this, I've got to deal, like you're focusing on the 10% rather than on the 90%.
Absolutely.
So you're doing it wrong that way as well.
Well, are you doing it wrong, or are you just doing it a different way? You know.
No, you're definitely doing, if you're focusing on the 10%,
you're doing it in an unhelpful way.
Unhelpful, yes.
Again, it's looking at these words, you know, right and wrong, you know, I
do like helpful and unhelpful.
It's, you know, sometimes we make mistakes and things, but there's that right and wrong can get quite heavy and hard, a hard, you know, concept for people, especially if they're made to feel like being wrong is just the worst thing, and like making mistakes, you know.
I think there's definitely certain people struggle with mistakes, being wrong, criticism.
Well, it's because then even self-criticism. Like, let's say they'll turn it on themselves. I made a mistake, and then spend months berating themselves because they made a mistake.
I'm fortunate that I'm quite comfortable that I make a lot of mistakes, and that's fine.
I've got some previous programming that then comes into this programming of making mistakes, so it's interesting. And it, you know, to each person, some words and some ways that things are said are more triggering or more unhelpful to them than others, you know?
It's the programming I have for myself is I try my best, and if I fall short anywhere, well, that's a learning opportunity and I can do better next time. But I don't berate myself on falling short because I did the best I could. If I was wrong or I made a mistake, well, I won't do that again, but I didn't think I was at the time. I didn't consciously make a mistake.
Yes. Yeah. No one really, that's the thing, it's a mistake. You know?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I don't believe that anyone consciously makes mistakes. No. But
I think it's part of being human, and like you said, it's a part of learning. It's how you learn and grow. If you don't, you know, it's like if you I have no idea how to raise kids, so like I have nowhere to stand on with this, but I have that feeling like if you're always bubble wrapping your kids and don't allow them to make mistakes and learn from things, then they'll never learn.
Yeah, that it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be a hard one, because if you do that, then when they get older, they don't have the coping mechanisms. Because
they haven't learned.
Everyone makes mistakes.
But and then you know, later on you realise that your coping mechanisms weren't really that healthy. Yeah. So now you're you know, learning how to help yourself in a more positive way, I think. Yeah. You know,
it's like I actually really appreciate my manager at work. So he's very good for if you mess up or break something. You get some people that are really like, really, really, you know, feel really bad about it. And he's very good going, well, you didn't do it deliberately, did you? Well, no, of course not. And he's like, well, there you go. Then, you know, maybe you didn't do it the most sensible way. And now you're looking back at it like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But, you know, life happens.
Yeah.
But again, that's stories and wording you can use. Mm-hmm. I always make mistakes, you know, or sometimes I don't get everything right, but I learn from it. I always do my best, you know.
Yeah.
It puts you in a better frame of mind.
Definitely. I think it just allows you to, like I said, kind of move forwards instead of looking back all the time. I mean, really, you can't live back there, and you can't live in the future because the only moment is right now. You know.
Yeah. Once it's done, you can't undo it. So
it's like it's about creating your now with words that are helpful to you and feeling, stronger. I think we're very good at feeling like a victim in the words that we use.
That's it. It makes me think of it's not about getting knocked down, it's how you get back up. That sort of mentality.
Yeah.
I said something else there, but it drifted off.
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of on the go slow. I don't think we need stronger coffee today.
I think so. It's been a very busy weekend.
Yes.
But yeah, it's those stories you tell yourself and the way you tell yourself things. And I think it also harkens back to that, like there's no news like bad news, bad news sells. There's this, and I don't know if it's...
negative bias?
The negative bias. Is it a cultural thing that's developed? I've only been around since the 80s, so I don't know. But, has it developed into a negative bias? Was it always a negative bias?
Do you think it comes from survival? Because making mistakes meant it was harder to survive?
Maybe.
Do you think, we look over what we're doing wrong to try and grow so that we
don't make mistakes
so that we survive
learn from
easier?
It.
Yeah. So, I think we have to be able to look at where we've gone wrong.
Yes.
It's just that some of the patterns is to sort of overthink it, sit and go. It's just like, it's okay to look at it and then go, okay, that's what happened, and allow yourself to feel. It's almost like, it's doesn't surprise me because last night we were reading those books. We were out last night and it was just the end. We were socializing, but it was just the end of the session.
We were socializing, sitting in a corner reading books.
No, the last 10 minutes we were playing board games with our people that we go to kickboxing club with. It was great fun. And then they were doing one last game, but I'd gone upstairs to have a cup of tea, and there was books on the bookshelf, and I grabbed a book, and I like to grab a book and open it, and it was talking about disappointment and not meeting expectations. And I wonder if that's like, then you go into shame, feeling ashamed that you made mistakes, like you didn't meet your expectations and you're disappointed in yourself that you messed up.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's like where we get trapped.
Yeah, maybe it is.
That because we feel shame.
Yeah. We
were ashamed of ourselves for making a mistake. Or it's like we're led to believe that we should be ashamed of ourselves for making mistakes.
There's definitely, and I feel like the modern world of social media and things like that paints a very false picture on the world.
If you believe that that's what reality is.
But that's what you're seeing all the time. You're seeing people in all these perfect situations and this perfect this. And it's like there's a YouTube channel called Dude Perfect. And I don't watch a lot of their stuff, but I watch some of their stuff. And they do trick shots and they do things like this. It's all weird things like throwing a ping pong ball and it bouncing off of 20 things and landing in a little plastic cup. And it's like, it's amazing. They'll take, 100+ tries to get that one right, but you only see the one right. It's the...
But I always like as well, I'd seen recently someone had done a video of, reality versus Instagram or whatever it was. And these shots you see where they've videoing themselves like walking through a magical place in the countryside. Yeah. And then it's like the bit you don't see is of setting up the camera, racing back to the point, and then walking with the connected, like looking like you're posing in the world sort of thing, and then racing to the camera to turn it off, and then all the filters they add to create that that moment. It's just like understanding that to create some of that, it's creativity, but it's funny that when you think about it, all those people that walk or drive past their cameras for a shot and then have to stop, go back and get them.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to see the footage of them running back to go and pick it up again. And you know that stupid face you always pull when you pick up a camera.
Yeah, when you set up a camera and you're like getting all set up, you're always got this.
Is that
stupid
recording?
constant...
You're like frowning at it.
Yeah. Way too close, looking up your nose.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, that's reality. So it's like, it's just understanding that we're not meant to be perfect, and we're not meant to make mistakes. Not make mistakes. We're meant to learn from them.
Yes.
And like you said, though, more importantly is the language we use and the stories we create around.
Yes.
Things that go wrong, quotation.
I think there's the big ones, like the big obvious, I always make mistakes. That sort of thing. They're the big obvious ones, but there are little subtle things that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
And even language you use to say positive things can have a negative spin on it.
It was like, I must, like we said, I must, I should. And it's like, you get to, there's people that don't get to do things that we get to do,
Exactly.
I complain about going shopping, but there's people who can't
have the money to go shopping.
Or don't even have access to shops. It's just like, I get to go shopping. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
It's just understanding that sort of a deeper perspective to what you think is actually a challenge for you. It's not at all. It's just...
And it's again back into that, 90% of life's good and 10% is bad. But God, we focus on that 10%.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I appreciate there's always room for improvement, and I'm a big fan of a growth mindset where you're always trying to move forwards and you're always trying to learn new things and improve. But I don't know why as a race we have to have this negative bias.
Like I said, I think it's survival. I think it's survival. Like, we have to know what we're doing wrong to allow ourselves, initially it's like that primal survival.
But so do you think the dogs focus on that?
They learn from their mistakes. Sometimes it takes a couple of
tries.
Was this a mistake? Oh, yes, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yep. Not going to do that again. Yeah.
They learn from it, but they don't focus on it.
But it depends. I suppose, what's interesting is, we've talked a lot about mentally. Is it because we get an emotional or physical response? And so that energy is going through us, so it sits with us. Therefore, it keeps the mind in that state for a bit longer before we're able to process and release. And then if we keep focusing on it because we're feeling it, then it's much harder to sort of turn that around and move forwards.
Yeah.
Understanding. So that's the interesting thing about the neuro-linguistic programming is, the thoughts are really important, and it does change our energy and how we feel because of the words we use are creating a different feeling within us. And I think if we don't know about that, then it's harder to be able to move in a positive way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. But like I say,
I think we focus on it because our energy gets stuck in it.
Yeah. I think that does happen. We get stuck in it and we get stuck telling ourselves about it.
Yeah, I think people don't even realise that that's why that is. It's like when we get stuck in the mind, we think it's the mind.
Yeah.
And actually, everything is all connected within us, physically, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
And so, we have to, or we get to,
see?
We get to move forwards and allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling and move forwards. But it's like, we're very good at we can be very good at getting stuck.
Yes.
I mean, it's emotional vibration.
It's interesting because this topic, like so many topics for you, draws back to the energy side of things and the emotion side of things and the things that really interest you. Whereas for me, it draws back to the subconscious. And really, then I start thinking about hypnotherapy and thinking about the things you can do just by telling your subconscious a different story and how you can get changes instantaneously.
Yeah.
And it's...
But that's what I'm saying. It's like when you switch your word use, because it's still connected to exactly what you said there, like when you switch your word use to something that is more positive,
Yeah.
or even change it from, like I said, my anxiety to the anxious feelings, so they're not mine anymore, they're just feelings that are coming and going, that allows them the energy to come and go, the anxiety feelings to come and go, rather than being stuck. So I think that's the thing is, even though you are mainly possibly seeing it from that subconscious word way, like there's no way that it can't affect your emotions, your feelings, and physically.
Well, I completely agree.
But yeah, it's like I always go into that way of feeling because I feel everything.
Yeah.
And I do understand how words can hurt, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that understanding of how words make a difference, the words you use, especially when you're talking about yourself.
Yeah, that's the one. It's talking about yourself. But you can do it talking about other people as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
But it's that thing for me with the hypnosis, because with hypnosis, you're getting into a suggestive state and then you're giving suggestions. But driving your car, watching a movie, sitting listening to music, even reading a book, like all these different times in your day, you are in a hypnotic state. Mm-hmm. You're in a highly suggestive state. And that way, if you're using something like NLP to make sure you're using positive wording and helpful wording, then when you do slip into those hypnotic suggestive states, it's very easy to then pass it through
the
to your
programming.
subconscious.
Well, it's the same like when you go to bed at night.
Yes.
That's why, it's good to sort of let go of your day and just allow some, people talk about affirmations, you know.
That's how they work. But it's
like they need to be something that you can believe and feel and believe. So, you know, if it's like, I believe in myself and you're extremely resistant to that, doesn't matter how many times you say that, you're not going to believe in yourself.
It's like the affirmations and the manifestations and all the, vision boards and things like that. They all definitely work. Like there's an obvious way that it works, but what it does is it helps you put that positive can-do spin.
It's like you're seeing the other side of the coin.
It's not like, I'm going to wake up in the morning with $1 million sitting next to me.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've got to, it's okay to, but it has to be kind of that realistic
You have to
feeling.
believe it.
You have to believe it. So it's like the affirmation, you can say you believe in yourself over and over and over again.
But if you
don't, or if you just don't have an inkling that you can.
Yeah.
But, I suppose probably eventually it
would break through.
It would break through.
I think,
But I think,
kind of a brute force method.
Yeah,
but if you just kept banging away at it, eventually your subconscious would be like, oh, fine then.
Yeah, fine, I do,
But yeah, no, you have to kind of do it with that belief behind it. You have to believe, which then comes down to the wording you use and the way you phrase it. Because I'm going to wake up in the morning with $1 million. We all know that it's not going to magically appear next to me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to earn $1 million.
Yeah.
Like that is totally doable.
And have like a realistic time scale,
Yeah.
It's not going to be tomorrow, but it will happen,
It will happen. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference. Rather than...
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Then. Just a thought that came up then. Why are we so hard on ourselves? Like, why do a lot of... Like,
well, this is back to the negative bias. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, why is it that we find it so hard to love ourselves?
So, here's my thinking with it. We're not all that way.
Yes. But do you not think a lot of people are?
It does seem that if you had to put a percentage on it, like 90% of the population's hard on themselves and 10% of the population isn't hard on themselves.
Okay, and how have they managed to get beyond that? Or do you think they've never had that feeling?
I don't know. I really don't know. So, I'm not hard on myself. I am wholly positive about myself, and I have a strong belief that I can do anything. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean that like I can fly a plane, but I could learn to fly a plane.
Come the apocalypse, you're going to be flying a plane regardless.
there we go.
Probably crashing it, but you're going to give it a try.
Yeah. But it's that positive, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that gets me through a lot and helps me achieve most things that I set out to do.
Do you know the funniest thing is living with someone like that?
It's awesome.
Well, you know what? It rubs off on you.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's the whole surround yourself by people who pull you up.
It's so funny because it's like, I used to be very fearful of any situation being challenging because, oh no, I don't know if I can get through this. And now it's got to the stage I'm like, well, it's something that I can learn from and probably going to open up whole new things that I didn't even know that I was capable of coping with or doing, or, it's like, okay, let's keep living,
But I don't know how I got to that mindset. So
and in the end, it doesn't matter, does it? I
didn't have an upbringing of you can do anything.
Yes.
I had pretty much the opposite upbringing of you can't do anything and you can't do that, and you're a very negative spin on things. But I never, no, there's probably a time I did believe the negative side of things, but something happened and I stopped believing it. I think for me what it was the things that I was told, which I believed, were very hard to quantify or critically look at. They were all negative, but I couldn't prove it one way or the other. Yeah. They maybe didn't feel like they were right, but
so it's almost like you didn't believe them within your energy body.
I probably didn't believe them with my energy body.
So even though you had like the programming going on in your subconscious, the rest of you was going, this doesn't feel right.
But then I remember a distinct moment when something happened and a story was told and I was in the wrong in the story, and I knew 100% without a shadow of a doubt that wasn't what happened, and my brain just went, nope, that's
now
complete.
I don't believe anything that comes from that.
And then my brain was just like, hang on a second, no, they're clearly not saying what's true. You know what's true regardless of what other people say,
so you can just create it the way you want.
And then that was it.
Interesting.
And then I think as well, having had a difficult time in things and leaving home and getting job, like I went through a few hardships which helped me have self-reliance.
Yeah.
And I think that also helps with the I can do anything.
Yeah, I think I'm only just starting to get self-reliance now.
But it's never too late to start.
And even still, it's something that I'm working with.
It's so I'm obviously ranching, farming, agriculture has been my life for the most of my life. The other thing that interests me just as much as that is hypnotherapy. And there's not an ounce of me that doesn't believe that if I really wanted to, I could stop what I'm doing, get whatever training I needed, and be successful at that. And it's just like, of course I could. Like, why couldn't I?
Turn your hand to anything.
Turn your hand to anything. And I have that sort of, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Now, fair enough. I can't, run as fast as Usain Bolt or something like that. But I could run faster than I can run now if I worked.
You could improve yourself.
I could improve myself.
Exactly. It's just knowing that
I'm aware there are limits.
Is that understanding like you focus on something? You can do it.
If I focus on being 6 foot tall, I'm not going to manage that.
Some things it's going to take longer than others, and that's fine. But you eventually you'll be able to do it.
Exactly. So that's the stories and the wording I use for myself, which makes it a positive spin. And then I find it difficult when I see everyone else not doing that.
I think it's the thing. It's to be able to believe in yourself, you need to trust yourself as well. And you need to, or you get to, you get to know that you are good enough in whatever way. You're always doing the best you can in the moment. This moment, it's like, it's sometimes we're always thinking, well, I need to be better at this, or
Yeah.
I need to be better person, or I need to do that. It's like, no, actually, you're the best you can be with the knowledge you have in this moment.
Knowing
always.
that I can be better
Yeah.
is fine. That doesn't bother me at all. But I can't be better than I am at anything right now.
No.
Like, right this moment in time, I am the best pilot I could ever be. If I took some lessons or something, or sat in a plane, you know, I could probably be a better pilot.
You have sat in a plane.
I have sat in a plane
last year,
yeah.
but yeah.
But, you know, that's the way.
Totally.
Right now, I am the best Formula One driver that I can be.
Yeah.
But if I worked at it, I could be better than I am now.
And again, it's like going back to what you focus on.
Yeah.
It's like you focus on you're not good enough, you hate yourself, you can't trust yourself. You know, it's just like when we're doing that, we're just creating so much resistance within ourselves to actually allowing ourselves to be who we are and allowing ourselves to grow into who we're going to be.
Yeah.
But if we're stuck in that pattern of language that is unhelpful to our own self feeling good, then we're never, we're going to struggle. So we never is a word that I don't like using.
No, never
ever.
doesn't exist.
It's just like you're going to struggle if you stay with that.
Yeah.
Or you can really thrive
Yeah.
if you turn it around.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's all about the wording you use.
Yeah. And we do it with the animals as well.
Yeah.
You know, I particularly hate labels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is an aggressive dog.
Yep.
No, the dog is showing aggressive behavior in that moment
Yes.
because of whatever is going on with it.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily aggressive. It's just
not at
a
all.
behavior.
Yep.
So it's like also, you know, just labeling moments as a all encompassing thing that is,
Yep.
you know, I'm an anxious person, you know. I
Then you
have
can't be
anxiety.
anything else other
Yeah, it's
than
like,
anxious.
Yeah, that's it. So it's like understanding that, you know, any label or statement that you make about yourself or your animal or people in your lives or your life
Yep.
is going to keep coming true until you like deconstruct that statement
Yep.
and bring it into something that is more inspiring and positive within your life.
That's it. And things like, you know, I can heal from this. In physical injury, mental injury, whatever it is, I can heal from this.
I always love that as well. You know, when you're sick, you say, I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm sick, I'm ill. Yeah, no, you're healing.
Yeah,
because
I'm getting better.
From the minute you are feeling ill, you're healing because you're always going to be getting better. Even if it feels like you're getting worse, you're still healing. Your body, your mind, everything is always trying to make you or help you heal.
Yep. And it's amazing what your body can heal.
Yeah.
If you allow it to.
Yeah.
But if you tell your body it can't,
yeah,
okay, it'll listen to you as well.
It's like we were talking about the pain as well. You know, it's like when you create the resistance with the negative stories, you hold yourself, you start accumulating like all the energies that aren't helpful that will make you feel sick if you don't turn it around.
It actually makes me think of the pain one. It's for someone else we watch on YouTube, Matt's Off-Road Recovery, who always wears a short sleeve shirt, and it's, you know, freezing temperatures and snowing and blizzard and stuff, and he's got bare forearms and no coat on and things. And the thing he has is that he has managed to get through to himself that cold isn't pain, it's just temperature.
Yeah, it's just the sensations that you're feeling. Your body's just telling you that
because quite often if you feel
cool
real cold, like you put your arm in an ice bath and it feels like it hurts, but it doesn't actually hurt. It's just your body's way of saying this will hurt you if you stay here.
Yes.
But it doesn't hurt you at the time.
Yeah.
It's just a temperature change.
Well, it's all it is like it's labeling. It's sensation. Pains are just sensation in the body that's telling you that there's something going on that perhaps you need to look at to help yourself.
That's it. And I say I have a high pain threshold, but what I have is I have a high ability to tell my body that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
That's okay. I can deal with that.
Well, it's like we say, because I deal a lot with my sinuses.
Yep.
Struggles within my sinus. I'm trying to think of the right language here.
Struggles isn't good.
Without swearing. My sinuses. And it's come to the stage where I block a lot of that pain.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is I'm so tired and run down. Why? Oh, it's because there's that pain there, and I'm not actually. It's telling me that there's something that I could probably look at to help myself to feel better. Mm-hmm. But so in blocking the pain, you do need to allow yourself to allow the pain to let it flow through and out as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so that's it, is the wording you use and the way you tell yourself. And
then it's like...
The blocking it isn't good.
No.
But the telling yourself and believing that your body can heal this.
Yes.
And so like your sinuses, I think a lot of it comes from the drier climate here. Yeah. And you get sort of inflammation and a bit of infection. So obviously what your body needs to do is heal from the inflammation.
Gets to do.
And it gets to sort of toughen up your sinuses so that they're more drought resistant.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just become, I think, and that's...
Which your body can easily do.
That's the interesting thing is, we've been here 2 years, and I'm still surprised that I haven't acclimatized faster.
Yeah.
I just...
but have you ever put it to your body in that wording of the...
Just need to acclimatize.
You need to acclimatize, probably need to toughen up my sinuses to allow them
toughen up is a hard word sometimes. Like, it can be a bit triggering.
They need to be more resistant to the dry climate.
Yeah.
So
or they need to change the way that they're producing the mucus and things like that.
That's it. Yeah.
It's just like...
Honestly, I don't know medically what the difference is between... But... your body will understand what you're meaning.
Yeah. Well, it's like that Joe Dispenza thing where he healed himself by meditating and focusing on...
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's an interesting story to read.
Yeah. So it's... Yeah. I think we've covered quite a lot there. It's really interesting. It opens up other thoughts.
I find NLP is quite interesting that way because it's such a small tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got a diploma in NLP, and it was really like pathetic, the course that I did, because it's just about putting things into positive wording.
It's so silly, but it is extremely simple. But it's hard to do as a human when you're in the...
It can be difficult to do, but...
Especially if you don't have... Like, it's almost like you need someone to hold you, or you get to have someone to hold you accountable. It's like when...
And that's really nice to have someone sitting next to you when you say something. They go, that's bad language.
No. It's like saying the positive thing of it. Like I said, my anxiety. No, it's just your anxious feelings.
It's just feelings that come and go.
But it's until Amy pointed out to me that that's what I was doing. Those are the words that I was choosing to use about my feelings and myself. I had no idea I was doing it. So then, like, anytime I hear myself saying my anxiety, I mean, this is obviously one that was really powerful because it's always the one I think of. If I hear myself, no, it's just anxious feelings. And then it's different. I feel different immediately.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah.
It is. It's so powerful just to use helpful wording. Yeah.
And I think we can be quite lazy.
Oh, yes.
But especially if we don't even realise how we're programming ourselves and our lives through the words and the language we choose to use.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, thank you very much. Good topic. Went on longer than I thought it would as well.